don't blink. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring you breaking news. After months and months of Stephen Guilbeault whining and complaining, after resigning his cabinet position, after 14 Liberals signed a letter to Mark Carney, Stephen Guilbeault has announced he is leaving the Liberal Caucus. Let's take a look. Stephen Guilbeault expected to quit Liberal Caucus as early as Wednesday, sources say. Former Liberal minister and career environmentalist Stephen Guilbeault is expected to announce he is leaving Prime Minister Mark Carney's caucus as early as Wednesday, two Liberal sources told the Globe and Mail. The sources said that they expect Mr. Guilbeault will also quit as a member of Parliament, though one of them cautioned that plan could still change. Three other sources said Mr. Guilbeault is expected to address Parliament on Wednesday afternoon. One of those sources said Mr. Guilbeault has also scheduled a gathering with current and former staff after his speech in the House of Commons. The Globe and Mail is not identifying the sources who were not authorized to discuss the confidential plans. Mr. Guilbeault has already previously resigned from Mr. Carney's cabinet over his disagreement with the government's energy accord with Alberta and its dismantling of marquee climate policies from the Trudeau era. Mr. Guilbeault's office declined to comment on Tuesday. His expected exit was first reported by CTV News. The Prime Minister's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment. On his way into cabinet on Tuesday morning, Mr. Carney did not reply when asked by the Globe if Mr. Guilbeault was going to quit. Expectations that he would break entirely with the Liberals have ramped up in recent weeks as Mr. Carney solidified his agreement with Alberta Premier Daniel Smith to clear the way for a new oil pipeline to the West Coast and overhaul and speed up environmental assessments. Mr. Guilbeault is a polarizing figure. He is widely vilified in the prairie provinces over his opposition to the oil industry, but revered in Quebec. He was considered a star recruit when he agreed to run for then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Mr. Guilbeault's departure from the Liberal caucus wouldn't change the balance of power in the House, but it would weaken the already thin majority that Mr. Carney obtained through floor crossings and by-elections that were held in April. At the time of the 2019 election, climate and environment issues were a top priority for voters and the government, but the pendulum has decisively swung away from that issue with a renewed focus on the economy and affordability. You can thank the Conservatives for that one. Since coming to office, Mr. Carney has undone several Trudeau-era climate policies. He cancelled the consumer carbon price, scrapped the emissions cap on the oil and gas sector, repealed the electric vehicles mandate, and shuttered a program to plant 2 billion trees. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's crazy how these things come to fruition when you speculate on them. So, this is fascinating. Mr. Guilbeault is going to be leaving the Liberal caucus. That means that the Liberals are going to be going from 174 down to 173. 173. That means they effectively have a one-seat majority outside of the Speaker of the House. That is a razor-thin majority. And this is why we've been trying to encourage Canadians that things can change and things do change in politics all the time. So just because Mark Carney has his majority, things will go up, things will go down. You have to stick with it and you have to keep the faith because things can change and things certainly have changed. I haven't been this giddy in a while. Now, it's fascinating that Mr. Guilbeault is leaving his seat, leaving caucus. It's speculated he might leave Parliament, but they said, well, don't count your chickens on that. Were we right when the Bloc had said, hey, listen, Mr. Guilbeault and all of your other environmental buddies, come on and cross the floor. Come on over to us. The Globe and Mail article said that he's revered in Quebec. Okay. Let's accept that he is. Does that mean that maybe there's going to be a space for Mr. Guilbeault over in the Bloc? They are staunch environmentalists over there. And they have been speaking out against Mark Carney and rolling back these quote-unquote climate policies. So does that mean Mr. Guilbeault is going to actually end up moving from the Liberal caucus over to the Bloc? Is that what the Bloc were foreshadowing yesterday when they were saying, come on over? This is very, very strange and very, very peculiar in terms of how this sequence is lining up. Now, to be consistent, I just want to put it out there. Floor crossing, I'm not okay with. But we're just looking at this from the standpoint of the Liberals. How are they going to be reacting to this? Are they still going to be all for floor crossing if it means that they actually end up losing a majority? Will they regret not kind of joining the Conservative on their motion to stop floor crossing? Time will tell. Time will also tell what the status is of these other MPs. Because it takes one, as we've learned with the Conservatives, it takes one to actually have some courage. Whether it's fool's courage or corrupt courage or whatever that might be. But I want to hear the conversation on mainstream media, folks. What does this say about Mark Carney's leadership? I really want to hear this. Because you've not only had a bunch of MPs leave and resign from the Liberal Party and resign from Parliament. Now you've had one leave Cabinet, and reportedly he's going to be leaving caucus tomorrow. So does this embolden some of these other MPs of that 14? One of them, let's just be real, one of them is probably Jonathan Wilkinson who signed that. So one of these other 12, are they going to get some courage and say, you know what, I'm going to stand by my convictions, I'm going to stand by my morals. This party is not going in the direction I thought it was, and I'm going to sit as an independent. That we can at least more understand, and I think Canadians could more understand that. And we also understand that this doesn't seem to be that he's leaving caucus and leaving the party over a corruption issue, as in he was corrupted to leave. This seems to be a genuine moral issue and a general ideological issue. This is what floor crossing was originally supposed to be about, not what Mark Carney turned it into. But this is the irony about this, folks, is when all you do is try to convince people to cross the floor, and you end up engaging in these backroom deals, in this corruption of folks, you end up building, well, let's just say some overconfidence. And we've seen that from Mark Carney. We've seen that from the way his caucus has been kind of snickering at the Conservatives and snickering at the NDP because they've managed to steal some MPs from them. But now we're at this position where the pendulum is going the other way. If it's not just Stephen Guilbeault, what happens if Mark Carney now loses that majority through floor crossing? A couple things happen. Number one, he no longer has that majority, and the House will, you better believe, the House will introduce a motion to swing the committees back to the way they were. Number two, this allows the possibility, if enough MPs move over, this allows the possibility of a vote of non-confidence before the next election in 2029. So, the next couple of weeks, next couple of months are going to be fascinating to see how this plays out from a political chess perspective. Because the more MPs move, and if this moves back to a minority government, oh boy, folks, oh boy. Is it going to dissuade other Conservatives from moving over, or other NDP members of Parliament from moving over? Because now Mark Carney's shine is going to start to go down. Will we see the polls start to shift because people are now leaving Mark Carney's caucus because of how he's been running them? And do we see, as a result of some of those possibilities, this government fall and us go to an early election? Ladies and gentlemen, don't blink, because anything can happen.